On Christmas Eve in 1020, outside a church in Bernburg, Germany, 18 peasants began to dance. These peasants are the earliest account of a plague that would affect people in Europe randomly and without warning until the 17th century, when it would disappear. In 1237, a large group of children began to dance together. Their dance brought them from Erfurt, Germany to Arnstadt. The children danced for nearly 12 miles before they collapsed from exhaustion. After their dance, they were returned to their parents. Some children died and the others were left with permanent tremors. The next outbreak was not until 1278, when 200 people gathered on the bridge over the River Meuse in Germany. They continued dancing even when the bridge began to fall. Some of the dancers died from the bridge's collapse, but luckily for the survivors, they were not burdened with the tremors that had befallen the children of Erfurt. From 1374 to 1376, the dancing plague popped up in Aachen, Cologne, Flanders, Franconia, Hainaut, Metz, Strasbourg, Tongeren, Utrecht, and on to Italy, Luxembourg, and other parts of France and Holland. The plague appeared again in 1381 in Augsburg. Then in 1418 it hit Strasbourg, Schaffhausen, where a monk danced himself to death, and Zurich, where a group of women began the uncontrollable dancing. The plague that befell Strasbourg in July of 1518 is the most well-documented of all the outbreaks. Historical reports about this outbreak came from physicians' notes, sermons, the Strasbourg City Council, and local and regional chronicles. All of the documents reported that the victims were indeed dancing. This outbreak started when Miss Troffa began dancing enthusiastically on the streets of Strasbourg. She danced for a week before 34 people joined her. They would dance until they fell. After a rest, they would get back up and continue their crazed movements. At the end of the month, 400 people were dancing on the streets. Physicians claimed that the victims had hot blood and prescribed more dancing to cure it. So the town constructed a stage and hired bands to play for the people. People began dying of exhaustion, strokes, and heart attacks. One report claimed that 15 people died a day from this plague. But still, the living danced on until September, when they were sent away to pray to be cured. The dancing plague was documented 2 more times. Once in 1536 in Basel, a group of children were stricken with the dance, and in 1551 in Anhalt, a single man danced himself exhausted. The physicians at the time diagnosed the dancing victims as having hot blood, and their recommendation for curing it was just more dancing. It was also believed at the time that Saint Vitus, saint of dancing amongst other things, had the ability to curse people to dance themselves to death for being sinful. When dancing did not cure the victims, they were sent away to pray for absolution, or an exorcism was performed on them. Other techniques, such as binding or isolating the dancers, were used to stop both the victim and the spread of the odd plague. Historian John Waller believes that the cause was stress-induced mass hysteria. The belief that Saint Vitus could curse sinners and facing diseases and famine daily could have stressed people out so much that it would force them to act out in this manner. Another theory is that the dancers were members of a religious cult. According to this theory, the dancers were performing ancient Greek and Roman rituals. These rituals were banned at the time, but the alleged cult members could practice them under the guise of the dancing plague. Some scholars believe that it was possible that the plague dancers could have been victims of ergot poisoning. Ergot poisoning, also known as St. Anthony's fire, is contracted by consuming rye that has been diseased by the fungus Claviceps purpurea. One of the symptoms of ergot poisoning is convulsions. None of the theories have been confirmed as the reason for the dancing plague. What do you think it was? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and check out my other videos for more weird content. Sleep tight, friends.